The name of that song is titled Buddy's Blues, written and recorded by my special guest today, San Francisco jazz guitarist Mimi Fox. Mimi, welcome to the Friday Afternoon Music Mix.
So good to be here with you, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Your latest release called One for Wes, which is done with your organ trio. You have a great website, which is mimifoxguitar.com. You're originally from New York City, but live in San Francisco Bay Area, have been recognized all over the world for your amazing skills on the guitar, including Downbeat Magazine, Midwest Record, Jazz Time, Jazz Weekly. You're pretty well known, Mimi.
I've been out here a long time doing this. I'd be remiss, Greg, if I didn't shout out to my friend Alice DiMichele, who is a wonderful vocalist and songwriter. And I actually recorded on one of Alice's very old recordings from 1992, I think. And then most recently did a cut with her on her new album Interpretation. She is just a great artist, and I'm grateful to her for introducing us, for putting you and I in touch.
We played that song from her new album that you accompanied her on during our interview. I know you started playing drums, guitar at age 10. It's kind of took off from there, hasn't it?
You know, Greg, I used to, when I was a little girl, well, everybody in my family loved music, and my mom was an amateur songwriter and vocalist, and my dad had a big collection of jazz recordings from the time I was a little girl. And then I was the youngest, and my older brother and sister listened to the Beatles and pop and stuff. I heard so much music in the home, was exposed to so much great stuff. So I started really banging on my mom's soup pots with like spoons and stuff, along to my dad's old Dixieland jazz records. Finally, I think my mom got sick of me beating up on all her soup pots and got me a little snare drum. That was when I was about 8 or 9. When I was 10, my mom got me a little guitar, and that was kind of it for me. I did play drums, throughout school, and for many years, it was sort of my second instrument, and I played in different jazz groups. The guitar was something, there was the immediacy of holding an acoustic guitar. The relationship that you can develop with it is a very personal thing. I just fell in love with it. I remember saying to my mom when I was 10, this was all I ever wanted to do, was play the guitar. It's a cliche to say that music chose me, but it really did. From the beginning, I kind of fell in love with it. That was that.
When did you start to put the focus on jazz?
That was a process for me, because even though, like I said, I loved my dad's old jazz records, and my mom turned me on to a lot of great jazz vocalists that she was listening to, Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, Carmen McRae. I heard a lot of great music from them, but it was really when I moved to the Bay Area, I had groups that I played drums in that were jazz groups, but on guitar, I was playing more folk, singer-songwriter type of stuff, Crosby, Stills and Nash, Joni Mitchell, James Taylor. Jazz guitar seemed very scary to me. I'd go out sometimes and hear these guys playing it. Wow, what the heck is that, So it took me a while. So I played, pop styles for quite a while. And then in my very early 20s, I studied classical guitar for several years because I had always loved that. Was into Segovia and Julian Bream and Christopher Parkening, later Sharon Isman. Heard so much beautiful music on classical guitar. So I studied that for a few years. But the rhythm of jazz, as Duke Ellington said, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. And the rhythms of jazz kept calling to me. So when I moved to the Bay Area, which was in 1980, met Bruce Foreman, who's a great bebop player, studied with him a little bit in order to develop as a jazz guitarist. I pretty much had to stop doing all my drum gigs because it's impossible to be a servant of two masters. I knew that for myself, there weren't enough hours in the day, because jazz is very demanding. And I still love many other styles of music. I'm not a jazz snoot, but there was something about the freedom of jazz and the combination of heart and mind that jazz demand that just really drew me. At around 23, 24, I started a process of practicing for many hours a day for, like 25 years, really devoted.
Let's do a second song of yours. This is one that I especially like. Your rendition of a Woody Guthrie original, This Land Is Your Land. got some gigs coming up. Firehouse Arts Center with the organ trio. That'll be in Pleasanton, California on April the 20th. And then on May the 25th, you're going to be at the 222 in Healdsburg, California. That will be with bassist and vocalist
Jeff Denson is the bassist and vocalist.
Your latest album, One for
Great.
Wes, and it is the organ trio. We're going to play a song from that here in just a minute. You have 19 releases, 2004 to 2019. I would call that prolific.
Yeah, I actually recorded my first album in 1985. I've been busy. I have a lot of creative energy. I just like to be doing a lot of things and a lot of different projects. I've been fortunate to, work with a lot of great musicians and artists. So I haven't been sitting around twiddling my thumbs these years.
No, you have not. That's about one a year average for yourself. And then on your website, there's a list of a whole lot of other albums that you've collaborated on. I want to do a third song of yours. This is from the latest album called One for Wes, Mr. White's Blues. I saw that you were a guest one time on Marion McPartland's show. Tell me about that.
She had a long running on NPR. I miss Marion. She was an incredible artist, a great piano player. She had me on her show, which was really fun because basically it was like a jam session. I mean, she interviewed me, but then she had her piano right there. And so we would just pick songs and play. It was really fun. Even at that time, you know, she was getting pretty old. She had arthritis and all kinds of stuff going on. But yet she was still sharp as a whip and just asked very insightful questions. She was a really neat person. She is really missed by the jazz community, not just for her musicianship, but for her show, which was just such a spontaneous show. Every time she would have guests on and like I said, interview them, but then you would play and you would basically just call songs like at a jam session. So it was there. It had a very organic, fresh kind of quality to it.
You would never have guessed that she was in her 90s. She didn't have to have sheet music in front of her.
Who played better when there wasn't sheet music. That's something true you can say of almost all jazz musicians.
On your website, you have 12 courses online. A couple here that I want to mention are True Fire Course Essentials, one called Jazz Improvisation.
What they are is they're pre-recorded. True Fire is an amazing company. I've been with them since 2004, 20 years now. I record the project ahead of time. There's all these different video segments, and they've got a lot of incredible learning tools that make the learning experience a lot easier than it was for me when I was first learning. I'm proud of all the courses that I've done, and, you know, most happy with the fact that I've helped a lot of people on their musical journey to learn. Because I've been given a lot in my life, in my career, and been very fortunate. And so I'm happy to pass it on, if you will, to others.
You also have 2 books. One is called Guitar Arpeggio. The second is Graduated Soloing. You have done some film and TV work as well. In addition to that, you've done work with theater, dance, radio.
There's so much that you can do with it. I mean, the guitar is really an orchestra. Whether I'm playing solo guitar or I'm writing a commission piece for a whole orchestra, just finished a guitar concerto, really, that I was commissioned to write. It's all connected to me, all of the different aspects of what I am as a musical artist can come out in different compositions. So, you know, it's wonderful to be thought of by other people as a, you know, great guitarist, but I'm more proud of my composing and the songs that I've written that reflect, you know, everything I've lived as an artist.
My special guest today is Mimi Fox, jazz guitar virtuoso. She has an album that's available. The latest is with her organ trio. It's titled One for Wes. She has a great website, MimiFoxGuitar.com, Facebook.com, Mimi Fox Jazz, Instagram.com, Mimi Fox Jazz. Great YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com, Mimi Fox Jazz Guitar. Any concert tours coming up or festivals this year?
My website has my full schedule on it. 2 things that I'm very excited about this year in terms of festivals is that I will be at the Detroit Jazz Festival in September, which I'm looking forward to. That will also be with my organ trio. And then I have a return performance at the Monterey Jazz Festival at the end of September. Very much looking forward to those. And then actually, I have some shows in July as part of the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, the Green Show concerts. So I'm playing 3 nights, one solo, one with a wonderful bassist, and one with Alice, where we're going to do a duo show. So those 2 festivals in September, I'm particularly excited about doing this year.
The Oregon Festival, will that be at Ashland?
Yeah, part of the Oregon Shakespeare Festival.
Mimi, thank you so much for joining me here.
Thank you for seeking me out and getting in touch. It's been a pleasure.
Let's go out with one more song. This one is her interpretation of the Beatles' Blackbird. you.